Hi guys, welcome back. So in our last session we had a look at an introduction to the nervous system. Now we're going to start answering some questions that you might get in future tests or exams. Okay, the first few questions, it says give the correct term for the following definitions. Number 1. A structure which receives a stimulus and converts it to an impulse. Okay? A structure which receives a stimulus and converts it into an impulse. Now, if I was marking this, there would be two possible answers that I would accept. Let me give you a couple of seconds to see if you can remember the answers. Okay, guys, hopefully you said receptors for that. Okay, I would also accept if you had answered sensory organs. So your answer for number 1, a structure which receives a stimulus and converts it to an impulse, is either a receptor or a sensory organ. Number 2 then, a structure which responds to a stimulus, for example, a muscle or a gland. Okay, again, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to see if you can get the answer yourself. Okay, hopefully you said an effector or an effector organ. Okay, if you got that, well done. A structure which responds to a stimulus, for example a muscle or a gland, is an effector. Number 3, a neuron that carries impulses from the central nervous system to the effectors, from the central nervous system to the effectors. Okay, going to give you a couple of seconds again. Okay, guys, hopefully there you said the efferent neuron. Okay, and then number 4, a neuron that carries impulses from the receptors to the central nervous system. Couple of seconds. Okay, hopefully you said the afferent neuron. Okay, then the last question on this slide. What is a very quick automatic action that involves the spinal cord and not the brain? Okay, so in this case, the signal, the impulses don't get sent all the way up to the brain. It just gets sent to the spinal cord. It's processed there, and then it brings about a change. What do we call one of these? What is the term for this definition? Give you a couple of seconds. Okay, guys, I hope you said there it is a non-voluntary reaction. Okay. Okay, guys, very easy, quick 1-mark answers there, but a good way to get a few easy marks in a test or exam. Let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, so now the next few questions we're doing the opposite of what we just did. So this time you're being given the definition, well, you've been given the term, and you need to provide the definition for that term. So number 1, the question says define the following, and number 1 says the motor function of the nervous system. Okay, let's see, can you remember what the motor function of the nervous system is? Let me give you a few seconds to remind yourself. Okay, so the motor function of the nervous system is carrying a message from the central nervous system to the effector organ via the efferent neurons that bring about a response, that bring about an action. Okay, so the motor neuron of the nervous system is the carrying of an impulse from the central nervous system to the effector organs via the efferent neurons that bring about a response. Okay, number 2 then, the sensory function of the nervous system. Okay, so again, a couple of seconds, sorry. Let's just remind ourselves quickly. Okay, so hopefully this one, after the motor function, this should be quite easy. The sensory function of the nervous system is sensing changes in the internal or external environment and carrying this information from the sensory organs to the central nervous system via the afferent neurons. Okay, number 3 then, the integrating or integration function of the nervous system. Again, a couple of seconds. Okay, so you can say for this one, the integrating function of the nervous system is when information from the afferent neurons is received and processed in the brain and spinal cord before being sent to the effectors along the efferent neurons. Okay. Number 4, the central nervous system. Okay, couple of seconds. This is an easy one. Okay, the central nervous system, you could have just said the central nervous system is made up of the brain and spinal cords, a collection of interconnected neurons. Okay, number 5 then, the peripheral nervous system. Okay, a few seconds, let's see what your definition is. Okay, hopefully you said that the peripheral nervous system are all the nerves in the body which connect the sensory organs to the central nervous system and the central nervous system to the effector organs. And it is made up, remember we want to include as much information as possible, and the peripheral nervous system is made up of the efferent neurons and the afferent neurons, and the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so quite a bit so far. Let's have a look at number 6. Okay, define the following: the somatic nervous system. Okay, I did just mention it, but let's see if you remember what the somatic nervous system is. Okay, that's it. Hopefully you guys said the somatic nervous system is the part of the peripheral nervous system that is responsible for controlling voluntary movements. For example, in the skeletal muscles. Okay, number 7 then, define the autonomic nervous system. Okay? Okay, so it's basically the opposite of the somatic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is the part of the peripheral nervous system that is responsible for involuntary muscles and glands, such as the heartbeat. Okay, and then the last term we need to define here is a stimulus. Okay, couple of seconds, come on. Okay, so a stimulus is a change in the external or internal environment that brings about a response in an organism. Okay guys, so in this last slide, let's have a look at these last 3 questions. Question number 1 says, give 3 adaptations of the CNS, remember CNS stands for Central Nervous System, that protects it against injury. Okay, guys, I've given in our last section, I gave quite a few different examples of the way that the central nervous system is adapted for protection. Okay, let's see if you can remember at least 3 of them. Okay, a couple of seconds. Okay, so the first adaptation, you could have said the brain and spinal cord rather, are surrounded by a system of membranes known as the meninges. And the meninges is made up of 3 layers, which is the dura mater, the arachnoid, and the pia mater. Okay, so that's 1. Number 2, the brain is also surrounded, the brain and spine are also surrounded by the cerebrospinal fluid, which is found between the arachnoid and the pia mater. And this protects the brain against shock or jarring. Okay, so that's 2. The third one, okay, you could say the central nervous system is encased in a bony covering. The skull encases the brain, and the vertebrae encase the spinal cord. Okay, that's 3 right there that apply to both the spine and the brain. Number 2, give 2 further adaptations of the spine that protect the spinal cord against shock and jarring. Okay, so this actually links back to question 1. We did already mention them. 1, the spine is S-shaped, so it can expand and compress, and this helps to protect it against shock and jarring. And the vertebrae of the spine are separated by cartilaginous discs, which also help to protect the spine against jarring and shock. Okay, then the last question, number 3, list the 3 membranes that make up the meninges. Okay, so we have the outer layer, which was the dura mater, the middle layer, which is the arachnoid, and then the inner layer, which is the pia mater. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me for this lesson. So be sure to join me. If you would like to download extra questions and worksheets to do with the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system and the nervous system as a whole, please visit www.iWhiz.co.za and you can download the worksheets from there. I hope I'll see you guys in the next lesson.
We need to learn to live with the COVID virus, you know, the new normal, at least for the next few months. And we have just what you need to make sure you never miss a single school lesson. And it's absolutely free, mahala! High quality, powerful, animated lessons for all your subjects. So don't spend a cent until you have tried iWhiz. It's everything you need. All video lessons, textbooks, workbooks, exam prep. We want you to ace 2021.